What's going on YouTube? My name is Batman, and in my last video I argued it was in the best interest of every Destiny player to hold off on buying the Taken King until it comes out on sale, because they could potentially save a lot of money, just like people who are buying the Taken King Legendary Edition today are saving a lot of money. They're saving about $80 on the base game in the first 2 expansions. They're getting that for $20, whereas most of us paid $100 for it. Today's topic is similar, but ultimately much more important. Today I want to encourage you to stop buying into special deals surrounding Destiny and the Taken King and the entire franchise that are completely divorced from the quality of the game's actual content. These deals are ultimately a waste of your money, even if Activision tries to convince you otherwise, and even worse, I would argue it has a negative effect on the overall quality of the gaming industry. Case in point, this fucking Red Bull bullshit. So presently there is a new story mission in Destiny that can only be unlocked with a code that you get from the back of a can of Red Bull. So in order to play that mission, you have to buy a can of Red Bull. However, if you wait a few months, that deal will expire and the mission will simply be free for everyone, and I encourage you to simply wait for that to happen because we don't want to encourage this type of behavior. There's an age-old term for this type of transaction. It's called nickel and diamond someone, okay? They tack on a little bit here and a little bit there. Suddenly they've squeezed out another 20 bucks from you to various sources. The more we buy into these micro paywalls, the more of these paywalls we'll end up seeing. It's a very slippery slope, and just look at how far we've slipped already. Used to be buying some third-party product, most commonly Mountain Dew, gets you an XP bonus, right? Now there is actual content in the game, a game you've paid for, that is only accessible if you go and buy a third-party product. As minor as it seems now, like okay, it's just a $2 can of Red Bull, it's the principle of the thing that's offensive and unsettling. It's one thing if a car salesman is like, hey, if you buy a case of Red Bull, I'll throw in a free car wash. It's an entirely different thing when he says, hey, you have to buy a case of Red Bull if you want your windshield wipers. You know what I'm saying? There's a fine line between some third-party deal being just a bonus and that deal being a requirement to access content, and Activision has just very subtly tiptoed across that line, and that's very troubling to me because how far does this go? Today it's a campaign mission, tomorrow it's a strike, or maybe a multiplayer map. The day after that it's a fucking Chick-fil-A exclusive raid. And this whole concept of Destiny pimping out its fanbase to the highest bidder, it's like your boyfriend letting his friends have sex with you for money. The Destiny fanbase is being pimped the fuck out, and not in the good way. I mean in the literal way, figuratively speaking. And it'd be one thing if your boyfriend pimps you out, but he's a really good boyfriend. Like he makes you breakfast, and he gives great back rubs. But Destiny is a 6 out of 10 game, dude. This is a low quality boyfriend we're talking about. He doesn't open the door for you at restaurants. He doesn't celebrate Valentine's Day. You say I love you, and he's like, yeah, me too. You know, is it really worth being pimped out by this douchebag? I know for a lot of people it's only a minor annoyance, but this is just the beginning. It will get worse. And if we had reacted as negatively to the Red Bull deal as we did the collector's edition repurchasing content stuff, we could have put an end to that shit for good. Or if enough people simply stuck their noses up at the Red Bull deal, you know, Red Bull didn't get enough sales out of it so that it wasn't as profitable as they needed to be, then we wouldn't have to worry about any future micro paywalls cutting content out of the game, milking our wallets, degrading the overall experience. And that's why I hope you'll wait for this deal to expire and just play that story mission when it's released free for everyone. And judging by the general quality of Destiny story missions, I'm sure you're not really missing out on that much anyways. But of course, what we're really here to discuss today is the Collector's Edition. In general, on any game, the Collector's Edition is a waste of your money. Instead of spending that extra money on pointless shit Happy Meal toys, you could spend it on actual games, like I was talking about in my last video. There's plenty of games out there in the $20 to $40 range that, you know, used to be $60 AAA games. The only reason they've reduced price is because they've been out for so long, but they're still on par in terms of quality with everything being released today. You know, go browse a little bit, play demos, look up reviews, choose a game because there is one out there for you that you haven't played yet that you don't know about. And that game can offer you an actual experience, some actual enjoyment, and that's what life is about. It's not about having pointless bullshit that's only true purpose is to be shown off in a pathetic attempt to elevate our own egos in the eyes of our peers who at the end of the day don't really give a shit anyways. Life is about experiencing new things and intellectual and creative growth, which is what I think is so beautiful and perfect about video games, is that they give us access to new, fresh, interesting, creative, and unique experiences in an age when so many of us are so confined and isolated, home and school and work and back home. So many of us are stuck reliving the same experience every day for so long. I've been in the same place doing the same shit for 20 years. It's like I'm stuck in the fucking Matrix. and we're all living paycheck to paycheck. We don't have the time or resources to go out on adventures, but what we do have is our fucking video games. And there's so many great games out there that you can just play. For 20 bucks right now, you can go play Plants vs. Zombies, which is an awesome game. I know it looks goofy, but I'm telling you, I've had a bunch of fun on that game and put countless hours into it and made friends on it and had laughs and had triumphs and defeats and close calls. I've experienced things, I've felt things, I've thought about things, strategies, and perplexities. And that's so much better than having some fucking Dinklebot statue or some stupid ass strange coin. And look, I understand some of the appeal of getting the collector's edition. I kinda wish I had gotten the Halo 3 collector's edition for the sentimental value. I think the new Black Ops 3 collector's edition is kinda cool because it has some practical application. You know, you keep your beer and your snacks in there, and then you don't have to interrupt your gaming session to get full and drunk. But the Taken King Collector's Edition obviously doesn't have any practical use, and I also don't think it has any sentimental value either. With something like Halo, you know, this is a game that played a huge part in many of our childhoods, right? It was an experience, and it left an imprint on who we are as people, as all experiences do. What that experience consists of, for many of us, is the way it provoked thought and emotion. It was an intellectually stimulating experience. It made us think about the origins of humanity. It helped bring into context for many people just how big and old the universe is. When we look at something like the Covenant, it was a philosophical dissection of how much power can be wielded based on a lie. There are so many real-life parallels to be drawn there. It was fascinating to see how the Covenant as a scapegoat united humanity. The moral implications of kidnapping children, augmenting them without their consent, but for the survival of humanity. Would you do it? Learning about the role that artificial intelligence plays in the triumphs and failures of civilization, and even all the sci-fi stuff. It was fiction, but most of it was based on actual theoretical science, things like the Dyson Sphere, Master Chief's armor, Cortana. It made its players think about things, about big picture stuff that actually does have relevance to the real world, to mankind, and our role in the universe. Destiny doesn't have that. I mean, there isn't much to think about. It lacks intellectual depth. Oh, this AI is named Rasputin? What does that mean? Absolutely nothing! Oh, the Cabal are referencing Roman legions? Was their civilization brought down by the same inner corruption that destroyed Rome in real life? Nobody cares, because it's irrelevant. Are you curious about how they terraformed gravity on Mars? Space magic! What's humanity's role in the universe? Stop the bad guys by shooting them with bullets from your gun. And oh yeah, space magic. And who is the bad guys? The darkness. Ooh, I need a nightlight. Mama, come help me. Scary in here. Halo made me feel. I was sad when Cortana died. I was sad when Captain Keyes died. And later when his daughter went down too. I was fucking mortified when Sergeant Johnson was betrayed. And I felt good when I ended his betrayer. I was pumped when the chief was all like,
"Sir, permission to leave the station."
For what purpose, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bomb.
Permission granted.
But that shit's not in Destiny. You know, they're advertising this collector's edition and you get this special notebook from Cade 6, and I'm thinking, who the fuck is Cade 6? Is it the robot who gives me bounties, or is it that identical robot that gives me mail? I don't care, and I don't give a fuck. The darkness could come and take a fat shit on the entire last city, and I would not give two fucks. I would laugh. If they killed Dinklebot, every Destiny player would laugh. There's no emotional attachment to these characters because they aren't actually characters. They're scripted objects that make sounds. Destiny is a hollow game. What true sentimental value does it hold? What experience did you really have? Killing Sepix Prime for the 50th time? Did you feel incredible after killing Atheon for the 30th time and you finally rolled for that yellow gun your friend rolled for the first time? You know, what are you paying homage to with the toys you are decorating your room with? Destiny is like a basketball game that has entered the fourth quarter. One team is up by 50 points. It's obvious who's gonna win. It's high school. Neither team was very good to begin with, and now they're putting in their second and third stringers. It's a boring basketball game, alright? And yet there's this one mom who's up in the stands losing her shit, cheering on her team as if it's a tied up NBA's final match. Like, that's how I feel about people who take Destiny so seriously that they have to drop 80 bucks and repurchase content that they already own just so they can have some super special Happy Meal toys and some new dance moves. And I don't think they want it for sentimental reasons either. I think they want it purely for ego. Collector's editions have always been kind of about ego, right? If you collect something, whether it's stamps or coins or model cars or Pokemon cards or motherfucking game memorabilia, you build a collection so that eventually you can show it off to people, right? You want an audience for your collection. And now now, because they included digital memorabilia such as the dance moves and shaders or whatever, well, now people can show off their collector's super fan status to everyone and not just people who come into their room, which is probably very few people to begin with if they're the type of person that drops 80 bucks on Happy Meal toys, just saying. And that's what I think this really comes down to, is showing off. Because being the bigger fan, the more hardcore Destiny player, is a big part of what it's about at the end of the day. It's about in-game status. And I know that sounds irrational, but it's so true. At the end of the day, the Taken King Collector's Edition only has one practical use, and that is to be shown off. All that shit. You can't do anything with your fucking strange coin. You can't do jack shit with your dance moves except show them off to other people, and that's what this is about. And why is this shit so expensive? Why was it originally exclusive only to people who are willing to drop an extra 40 bucks on some new dance moves, shaders, and character pieces, right? Because they already owned everything else in that $80 deal, so they were essentially spending the 40 bucks on the Taken King and then $40 just for those dance moves, the shaders, and the character pieces. Purely aesthetic bullshit. And or if they got the physical, they got the Happy Meal toys, but I know a lot of people got digital and they're not getting the Happy Meal toys, right? So, but then everyone gets mad, and then to make it fair, they make it available to people willing to dish out 20 bucks for that pointless shit that doesn't provide any actual playable content. And so why does it have to be so expensive? Why do these dance moves and character pieces and that shit, why does it have to be so ridiculously overpriced? Because the shit has to be expensive so that the shit is rare. Because if it's not rare, it defeats the purpose of having it in the first place. It has to be rare so they can show the shit off. If everyone has it, they can't show off. So it has to be rare, so it has to be absurdly expensive. $20 for 3 new dance moves, character pieces, and shaders. It has to be absurd. Even Bungie has said that this is what that's about. They say it's about being able to say, and I quote, it's about being able to say, I was there when. Literally, that's the quote. It's about being able to say, I was there when, from Luke Smith himself, alright? I was there for this, and I was there for that, and that makes me special, god damn it. It's about being the best at something. It's about having the most knowledge about something or the most experience with something. We've all done it, especially men. Just trying to one-up someone on some trivial ass shit. Just because it's in our fucking nature. It's in our evolution. It's an instinct. But it's a counterproductive instinct in this day and age. Just like our craving for sugar and sex, things that companies have figured out how to manipulate in an effort to control us. That's what this is, a system of control. And just like I tell people not to eat too much sugar and not to watch too much porn, I will tell people not to buy pointless bullshit just to feel better about themselves. This shit will not fill the void in your psychology. Only true accomplishment can do that for anything longer than a fleeting moment. Now this is the part where everyone tells me to stop telling other people how to spend their money, right? To which I say, now and forever, cry me a river, build a bridge, and get the fuck over it. If I see someone at the carnival playing some game where you gotta hit a moving target for a prize or something, right? Except the catch is, you have to use money for ammo. And I see some thick motherfucker putting $20 bills into the little shooter thing, and the bills don't even have enough weight to reach the target, much less hit it accurately, I'm gonna do my best to convince that guy he should stop wasting his money on this shit. And it's not because I don't like him, it's because as one gamer to another, I care about the motherfucker, okay? And not only do I think refusing to buy into these things is a better choice for us as gamers, but in the long run, it's better for the overall quality of this franchise. If your girlfriend has a sugar problem and you can tell it's having a negative effect on her health, she's not as energetic in bed anymore, she's getting a bunch of cavities, she's having severe headaches and sugar crashes. As a responsible spouse, what do? You try and help her cut back on the sugar, okay? Except in this case, the sugar is our money and our girlfriend is Destiny. Obviously, this bitch has some health problems. When we buy into these special deals, when they can win our money that way, at basically no cost on their end, there's that much less incentive for them to focus on the quality of the game. If they can sell us shit that we already own, why should they feel the need to sell us something new or better? They can sell us something we already own, why do they need to sell us something we don't already own? If they can take a 6 out of 10 game and turn it into the most commercially successful game of the year, why would they feel the need to spend extra time and money to make an 8 out of 10 game? But that of course begs the question, why was a 6 out of 10 game able to become the most commercially successful game of the year in the first place? That's the question that should concern any gamer who's passionate about their hobby and the quality of the products they're spending their money on. I want an industry where the commercial success of a game is reflective of the quality of its content, not that of its marketing campaign and or the bullshit deals it rolls out to mislead and then nickel and dime its customers. The For the Win query of the day is, what do you think was the most offensive deal ever pushed on a game's fan base, and why? Please remember to rate the video. This is Batman, signing out.